Imagine this. You wake up, and the first thing that you do in the morning is you reach for your phone. You check Instagram, your email, then head to TikTok for a little morning scroll. That morning scroll turns to half an hour of scrolling and then an hour. Maybe it's time to get up. You head to the kitchen for coffee and pour yourself a cup. Your next destination is the couch, phone and coffee still in hand. You find yourself scrolling once again. But this time, you notice the type of content you're consuming. You're seeing intricate morning routines, healthy breakfasts, workout sessions, beautiful hair, glass skin, washboard abs, a fully stocked big kitchen, the dream car, and pause for a moment. That's what I want too, you think to yourself. If only there was a way to bridge the gap, you whisper out loud. Self discipline is the building materials for that bridge. Building unshakable self discipline will get you all that you desire in this lifetime. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the exact steps that I would take to start building self-discipline and consistency from absolute zero. Honestly, I was right there not too long ago. My self-discipline muscle has been extremely weak throughout my life. I prioritized comfort more than literally anything else. I was more concerned with feeling good in the moment than growing through discomfort. In fact, my self-discipline muscle was so weak that I couldn't even follow through on my own word. Like if I had said, I'm going to work out tomorrow, I couldn't even trust myself to do that. It became clear to me that I was excellent at achieving short-term gratification, but I started to crave and desire things that came from long-term satisfaction, but I wasn't sure how to go about that. I realized that I needed to start building self-discipline when I started to crave a life that was larger than my own. I started to wonder to myself, just how do people achieve these grand rewards of life? Like, how do they get the dream car, dream career, dream house, their fit body, or their ideal self? How do people go about getting these rewards in life that are typically harder to achieve? So I set out on an intentional journey to become more self-disciplined in all aspects of my life, and I'm super excited to share with you guys all that I've learned and experienced so far. First things first, let's talk about our mindset when it comes to self-discipline. I first heard the term self-discipline when I was a kid in church, and I remember thinking to myself, who in their right mind would want self-discipline? Like, I hate getting in trouble. I associated it with getting in trouble. I always thought self-discipline was about punishing yourself, so I always avoided the subject completely. I remember I had a mindset that kind of sounded something like this, like, life is short, eat the cake now, it's the little joys in life that make it so sweet. But after a while, I noticed that I've had cake several times in my life. I've had many little indulgences, I've had a lot of good rest, a lot of little good moments in my life. And yes, these things make life sweet, but they didn't satisfy a craving for something larger than myself. The first and most important thing that I want you to remember is that self-discipline is the highest form of self-love and self-respect. It occurred to me that I've experienced several little joys of life and that it's actually really quite easy to experience. I'm someone who believes that you can find something good about every single day, about every single situation, and that there's always something to be grateful for. And I'm not saying anything bad about enjoying the simple things of life. You should be doing that. For some people, those little simple things in life is what keeps them going day to day. But I wanted to taste something that wasn't readily accessible to me for once. I learned that there are some things in life that are only accessible on the other side of self-discipline. And both of these things are completely valid. One's not better than the other. One of them just takes a little bit more work to get to, and one of them is a little bit more accessible. In my experience, I got very familiar with a lot of the little joys in life that I wanted something bigger, something more. Because there's some things in life that are only accessible on the other side of self-discipline. If I want the strongest, most healthiest version of my body, then I gotta exercise and eat healthy every day. If I want to grow my YouTube channel, I gotta work on content every day. Understand that if you can grow your self-discipline muscle to be really strong, then you can achieve literally anything you desire in this life. Like building any new habit, I recommend that you start small with building self-discipline. Remember, we want to build this muscle sustainably because we're going to be using it for the rest of our lives. When I first started to learn about self-discipline and was educating myself on the subject through watching YouTube videos, I was watching a lot of YouTube content like how to become her, daily morning and evening routines to build self-discipline, how to glow up, and honestly, it was all really overwhelming. If you're starting with zero self-discipline, then I can absolutely see how waking up at 5 a.m., going out for a morning walk, getting your morning exercise in, doing skincare, hair care, making a matcha, making coffee, planning your day all before noon feels impossible. Just remember that when you see these ultra motivational type videos, that these people are already in a very advanced stage of their self discipline. They've been practicing these things that I'm sharing with you for so long that they've optimized them to do them quickly, to make them look easy, and to really not think about them when they do them. We'll get there one day, but right now we're starting small. So if you're starting with zero self discipline, then I'd start with one habit, and that is making your bed every day. If you already do that every day, then congrats. You're not actually starting at zero for self discipline, and you're probably doing better than you think. In that case, pick an easy habit that you know you should be doing but aren't. And make sure it's a small habit. Making your bed takes less than 5 minutes, and oftentimes it's the first task that you complete during the day, so it gives your brain a sense of accomplishment after completing it. I never made my bed growing up, and it wasn't something that was enforced, and so it was just something that I literally never cared about. Even as an adult, I still never made my bed, and I actually got into the habit of making my bed for the very first time this year. I downsized a lot this year, and my space is a lot smaller, so when my bed looks messy, my entire space looks messy. That small task has now become automatic, and I make my bed every morning whether I want to do it or not. I do it just because it's something that I commit to each day. And so that's what I want you to do. Pick a habit that you do every single day to the point where it becomes automated and you just do it without thinking. Then, once you're doing it every day without any thought or consideration, add another habit and do the same thing with that one. It's so much better to start small and to get each habit really down before adding another one, because if you go from 0 to 100 like instantly, you decide I'm changing my entire life around 180 right now, that's going to be hard to sustain and it'll be really easy to burn out. The key here is to build self discipline sustainably, and that happens with slow growth, not an immediate change. My light died, so I hope my lighting is still okay. I cannot stress enough the importance of tracking your progress. I'll show you how I track mine. So I make a handmade habit tracker that looks at about half of a month at a time. I have all of the habits that I wish to embody on the left, and each pink filled in box indicates completion of that habit for the day. A half filled in box means I did the habit but not to completion, and the X here is crossing out a mistake. It doesn't matter how you track your progress, just track it in a way that works for you. This way works the best for me, but you could always use like a habit tracker journal, your iPad or your iPhone, just like the general notes, or even like just a journal. That way you can just see how you're doing with your habits, what patterns are there, and what needs to be improved. On mine, I've noticed that my habits really fall off on the weekends when I have more leisure time. There is a reason, though, to track your habits in progress that, in my opinion, is more important than just learning about your patterns and observing. And that your habit tracker is your proof of success. When I first started out on my self discipline journey, I was not prepared for the emotional aspect that came with it. I was so motivated at first. Like, I was saying, like, yeah, I got this. All you gotta do is get up and just do it. I can do that. Until the doubt sets in. And not even a few days later, the motivation was completely gone. And I was asking myself, like, what am I actually doing right now? Like, is this even worth it? This is boring. I don't feel good. I don't like this. Like, what am I doing? You cannot rely on motivation alone to keep you on track towards your goal. Because motivation is an emotion that comes and goes, just like doubt, discouragement, and fear. Self discipline is taking the intentional action that you need to take in order to get you closer to your goal, regardless of what your emotions are telling you. As human beings, we are wired for seeking comfort, so it's really important that you consider, but you don't listen to your emotions when it comes to taking that action. Yes, I get it. You probably would rather chill on your couch with a snack and watch TV. Trust me, I would too. It's more comfortable. With self discipline, you need to develop the ability to put comfort aside and do the hard thing anyways. So that's why habit tracking is so important, because you're putting all of this work in, but it seems like nothing's changing. I am here to tell you that all of the work that you're putting in the beginning is invisible work, and it will feel discouraging, but that work is there. When you decided to embark on your self discipline journey, what you did is you planted a seed. The first couple of weeks, maybe even the first couple of months where you are showing up consistently every day and putting in the work and seeing no change, is when you are developing all of those strong underground roots that are just growing, spreading, and getting stronger. It will feel like invisible work until you finally see the little sprout pop out of the dirt and you have proof of your labor. Guys, I'm telling you, this is when you really need to like hunker down and go the hardest, because this is going to feel the most discouraging, but this is probably the most important part of the process. When you feel discouraged and you feel like you're putting in the work every single day and nothing's changing, refer back to that habit tracker. And that right there is your proof of success until you see that sprout. Because guess what? You're going to look back and say, wow, I've already exercised 10 times this month so far. The number on the scale hasn't changed and I don't feel any different. But let me ask you something. If you do one workout, can you expect anything to change? What about after 10? Now your body's starting to say, okay, things are changing. It's going to be invisible until it's not. And you can't give up now. This is when you need to just keep going. If you're new to self discipline, then I'll be the first to tell you that you're probably going to mess up a lot. You're probably going to have mistakes and failures, and you're probably going to skip some days. You'll probably get really annoyed some days, and there will be some days where you will feel like giving up. But as long as you do not give up, the rest doesn't matter. Progress is not linear, and showing up for yourself each day does not mean that you're showing up a little bit better than you were the day before. It simply means that you are just here to show up and give at least 1% every day. That's what consistency is. Consistency is the vehicle that drives you to your goal. Some days you might travel 50 miles towards your goal. Other days you might only go 1 mile. But regardless, what's important is that you're still moving closer. If there's one thing to take away from this video, it is to simply not give up. You will get to your goals, to your dream life, to your absolute highest self, so long that you stick with self-discipline and just don't give up. The only way to truly fail is to give up, and that is fully in your control. Even if you only put in 1% effort to your goal each day, that number compounds over time. Like, that's not just one increment each day. There are some things that you can do to help out with your own success, like optimizing your environment to help achieve your goal. You want to make it as easy as possible to stay self-disciplined. Optimizing your environment to achieve your goals can look a lot of different ways. For example, if you're trying to lose weight, don't keep tempting snacks in the house. If you're trying to break your scrolling addiction, then delete TikTok off of your phone. If you're trying to build a better gym habit, then lay out your gym bag, your clothes, and your shoes the night before so that you don't have to search for those things. Make it as easy as possible for yourself to just, oh, there's my shoes, there's my gym bag, just grab them and go. A way that I've optimized my environment to better nurture one of my developing habits is, as a content creator, if my room and bathroom are messy, I do not feel inclined to film. So every morning I make it a point after I wake up to real quick tidy up my room and my bathroom, so that throughout the day, if I have an idea that I just want to like whip out my phone real quick and film something or talk to the camera, I don't have to go and clean the space real quick, which would cause friction between me and that good habit, and I can just get right to it because my space is already clean. You want to create as little friction as possible between you and your habit. That's why it's so important to optimize your environment to make it just as easy as possible to engage with your habit. If I had to stop what I was doing and clean up every time I decided that I wanted to film, I'd waste a lot of time and energy. Developing consistency and self-discipline takes a lot of energy, so we really got to be smart with our finite amount of energy. As your habits become more automatic, then they will absolutely require a lot less energy. So you're going to need the most amount of energy when you're establishing a new habit, so you want to make sure your environment can help out as much as possible with that. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. You now have the blueprint to start building self-discipline for yourself. Remember that self-discipline is the highest form of self-love and self-respect. When you forego an immediate desire to attain a long-term desire, you're supporting a future version of yourself that will provide even greater things for yourself one day down the road. To recap, start with clear goals and understand that self-discipline is here to help you achieve a higher level of success than you've ever experienced before. Be prepared for doubt, uncertainty, and uncomfortable emotions, but just know that these are all totally normal feelings to go through when starting a self-discipline journey. And while these feelings aren't fun necessarily, just know that they don't last the entire journey. They might be there at the start, but it's something that we can absolutely work through. Our bodies and minds are wired for familiar comfort, so self-discipline might not feel good at first. But following through with your habits, despite the negative emotions that you're feeling, is critical. Start with small wins and habits, and then start to build up your self-discipline gradually. Making your bed every day is a great daily habit to start implementing self-discipline. Aim to have sustainable growth, instead of intensity that leads to burnout. Showing up each day doesn't mean that you show up better than you were the day before. Some days you're going to crush your habits, and some days you're going to half-ass your habits. Either way, as long as you showed up, you're still moving forward. And finally, set up your environment to make doing your good habits as easy as possible. The less planning, searching, or setting up you have to do, the better. With practice, we're trying to automate our habits so that they take as little thought as possible to complete. I hope that this video helped you and inspired you. Please subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you made it all the way to the end of the video, then it's clear that you're serious about building self-discipline for yourself. And to that I say, you can do it. I just know it. You absolutely can do it. You can practice all of the things that I mentioned in the video, but without that burning desire that is deep within, everything will truly be a challenge. And if you're still here, I know you got that burning desire. I see it. If you're interested in following along with my self-discipline journey, then check out my playlist and my series, The Glow Journals, where I share my wins and struggles with self-discipline and consistency. Hopefully, it inspires you a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Together, we will build unshakable self-discipline and become the absolute best versions of ourselves together. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!